Alright, so in Fiend Attack, my Condor 2 is running 2 pithy C-type torpedo launchers, Stasis Web of Fire, Nosferatu, Mark 5 armor repair, and Smuggler, a small afterburner. I have a loading accelerator and calification, along with two tier 2 auxiliary thrusters. So, this is tier 7 mission running about 1.5 million ISK. Part of the Bad Hair Day story chain. Okay, so here we go. We're getting ready to warp in. Normally when I warp into one of these encounters, I like to go at a little bit above average range. So between 30 and 40 kilometers. Around a good range. This puts you outside of most of their attacks. And also gives you a chance to take a look around, get a situational awareness going, and see who has all the debuffs. In this case, it's the Blackbird Covert Ops. So, once I locked them on and everything, I am going in, and I am going to start orbiting at around 2 kilometers. Now, my top speed in this orbit is between 1550 meters per second and 1700 meters per second. Here I am adjusting my range. Kind of a screw up there, fat fingered most of it. For you new guys, if you select your ship on the screen, you can adjust your orbit and approach. That being said, just the defaults. So if you're in auto orbit, you can set your default to that, where you just click orbit and it goes to whatever you want it to. Same with approach. So shield's running low, got my armor repair on just in case. Got rid of the Blackbird, just taking out the small guys first. Always start small, work your way up after the debuffs. The smaller they are, the more easier it is to hit you. In this, I am running at I'm at a tier 7 right now, about 3/4 of the way to tier 8. And I got pretty high frigate skills and weapon skills for small missiles, so. But don't let that discourage you for you new guys. I've been running tier 6, tier 7 encounters since I was a tier 5. So don't get discouraged, just keep it up. Be patient. Just because you're doing lower DPS doesn't mean that you're not going to survive. Alright, so here I am looking at the Blackbird, just watching him chill there, accepting his fate as my Stasis Web of Fire is just stopping him. Anyways, as you see, I got all my modules activated, and a little worried because my capacitor is running low. That's mostly because this Blackbird doesn't have a very high capacitor capacity. Another word of advice for you guys who don't deal so much DPS, grab the loot as you go, because it takes so long to kill everything, you just don't have the time. So here are my skills. I'm at 5 on everything normal, and 3s, 4s, and 4s on advanced. Yeah, mostly spec armor for your Condor. So there I just updated my frigate defense to tier 3, advanced frigate defense, and frigate engineering's at 5-4. Target management, electronic systems, and engineering are all 5s. Missiles, operation, and upgrades are 5-4, 5-3, 5-2. So I'm doing quite a bit of damage above average. By the time you hit tier 5, tier 6, you should be at around level 5 for all of these. Or at least close to, if you decide not to try to experiment with cruisers, destroyers, battle cruisers, any of that. My recommendation, if you start frigate, or if you like frigate and like what it does, stay with that. Otherwise, go cruiser, battle cruiser, skip destroyers altogether, because those are only good in fleet situations. So grab the loot, opening range, checking to see who's debuffing, same drill, just going on through. Easy day. Warp it, or speed on in, orbit the guy with the debuffs, and just whittle away at him. So this is pretty much how the whole battle goes. I don't really lose much in the way of shield after a while, because A, going so fast that I usually outrun the shields. Also 2, just so small it's hard to get a lock on. Now Caldari missions, they use primarily missiles, so they're more likely to hit you regardless of what's going on. Regardless of how fast you're going, you're always going to get hit. Just accept it. It's a fact of life. Get over it. When you go into Galante missions or Mar missions, they mostly run lasers and rail guns, so they got a slower tracking speed. They're not able to hit you as often. In one of my later videos, I'm running a Galante mission, and basically I never get into my armor at all. My shield at lowest, I think, got down to 1%, and my armor went to 99. But other than that, I didn't have to worry about anything at all too much. So here we go, wheedling away. This is going to be the second wave. And yeah, as you can see, my shield is now regenerating naturally, and I'm working through it. So yeah, capacitor's already full, shield's regenerating. It takes forever, but the end result is worthwhile. Recently I lost most of my ships in a PvE and a PvP incident where I ran into a gate camp and got bubbled. So insurance really sucked the life out of me on that one. So I basically decided that it's cheaper to start from scratch. My initial build for this, maybe 4 million after buying the ship. You can buy these relatively cheap at 1.5 mil. So, like, if you don't run any rigs on it, your normal modules are about 3 or 4 million. So, yeah. And this isn't just good for encounters either. You can run regular anomalies, some inquisitors, some really high tier stuff. I think the highest tier that I ran was a small tier 8. Got a little worried near the end because it started going into my structure. And there you see my prophecy, which I lost recently because I accidentally warped into a tier 10 anomaly base. Big mistake. I was in a fleet and I just made bad choices. So I lost it, and it cost me 1,600 insurance points to get it back, so it takes forever. There's a text from my mom. Don't worry about that little guy. So, same drill. As you can see, we got a couple destroyers in there. This is where I start getting some real damage. My armor, as you can see, goes down real low. But you gotta keep a cool head, make sure that your armor repair is at least T5. If you keep it at tier 5, you're gonna survive. Alright. You won't be very unstressed, but you'll get through it. So, as you can see, I'm sticking to my guns, taking out the debuffs first. And then I'm going to work my way over to the destroyers. And there's an Osprey in there. I'll take care of him after the destroyers. But yeah, the Corex that I currently have locked at 13K is the one has me webified. He's my next target. So there we go. No, not that one. So just sit back and watch the rest of the video. Was lengthy, but I sped it up so that way it can be more bearable to watch. Original video was about 40 minutes. That's how long it took for me to finish this mission. For tier 7, that's about normal, so don't get discouraged. If you're a tier 5 tech level, you're looking at maybe twice that for this kind of mission. But not to worry, because this is an advanced mission, so you're not going to run into it until you're tier 6, tier 7. Hopefully by then you'll have the appropriate skills trained up, and you'll be able to breeze through these fairly easily. Alright, there goes the Osprey. He's going by really quick. And then I'm going to nail that Blackbird and then the Feryx. Blackbird is pretty far out there, but that's okay. Takes me no time at all to catch up to him, especially since the video's sped up. So now I don't really start regenerating naturally on my shields for about halfway through the Feryx, and that's okay. That is okay, because my capacitor remains above 70%, and I'm not too worried. So this is the guy, and dead, and already pre-staged my orbit. So when you stop in combat, you're pretty much going to be asking to die. So that's where you got to make the snap decision of whether or not it's worthwhile to take the loot or not. In my case, I was confident I could get back up to speed quickly enough to take that loot. I'm looking in the help channels right now, just to see if anybody had any cool fittings that I might use in the future. That's another thing. Everybody has some good fittings out there. Everybody has their own style of play. My advice, go ahead and save their fittings. You never know when you might run their ship. And give them a try. Give them a whirl. That's the only way you're going to mature as a pilot out here. You know, you got to have got to keep an open mind about everything. I'm already set in my ways. I don't like destroyers. I don't much care for frigate or cruisers either, except for the Vexor Navy issue. That's a decent ship for if you're speccing drones and you want to do some damage from afar. But close combat, by far, get a frigate. Tier 4 and up. There, I just completed my mission. Going back for the loot. And this concludes our video. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, and more is to come.